Your Highness, Your Highness. The people around him rushed forward. Li Nanfeng reached out and held Crown Prince Ningyi in his arms. Then she pressed her nails on his philtrum. Ningyi slowly woke up. Who was the one who woke me up? Why did you wake me up? Why don't you let me continue to faint like this? He felt another wave of discomfort in his chest and couldn't help but vomit again. This time, it wasn't just blood, there was acid as well. This was almost like nervous vomiting. She had not slept well for several days and nights, and it was caused by her suppressed emotions and pain. What should he do next? Ningyi's heart was in a complete mess. Go north to Sand City? It's impossible. If we take this path a third time, the army will completely collapse. Should they set up camp on the spot and continue to attack the city? Crown Prince Ningyi glanced at the tall city walls. He really didn't have the courage. Not to mention Ningyi, even the hundreds of thousands of soldiers of Yu country did not have the courage. The 100,000-strong army had been on the move for several days, traveling day and night, covering a few hundred miles. Both his body and mind were exhausted to the extreme. Especially their morale, which was on the verge of collapse. Generals were the courage of soldiers. In the past few days, the Crown Prince, Zhu Lin, and Nangong Ao had been toyed with by Jin Jun like headless flies. Everyone had seen it clearly. The general was confused, and the soldier was at a loss. Especially when Crown Prince Ningyi vomited blood, everyone had seen it clearly. This was why the hundreds of thousands of soldiers were filled with fear. The three leaders had another secret meeting. What should he do next? Crown Prince Ningyi kept his mouth shut. If any of you dare to let me decide again, I'll kill you. Decisive, decisive my ass. Jin Jun had calculated a few times, and the entire army fell into a desperate situation. His dignity and self-confidence were trampled on. Nangong Ao was also indecisive. Even though he held the highest position, he was not the primary leader on this battlefield. After a long while, "It's impossible to attack the city," Zhu Kong said. "We have enough troops, but the morale has collapsed." Jin Jun was in the city, and everyone really had no confidence in him. They really did not have the courage to attack the city, even if there were only 10,000 people in the city. However, as long as Jin Jun was here, she really didn't dare to attack the city, and she couldn't take it down. "Let's do it this way, run to the east," Zhu Kong said. "Go to the city of Autumnfall, and then go north to return to Yu country." "That's a full 400 li," Nangong Ao said. "Could it be that the fallen leaves city has fallen?" the Crown Prince Ningyi asked. The crowd fell silent. Once these hundreds of thousands of troops headed east to Autumnfall City, it would take at least 7 or 8 days to travel 400 miles, even more than 10 days. Not to mention the collapse of morale in the process, the crisis of food shortage, and the possibility of being attacked by the Sand primitive tribe at any time. The key was, what if Jin Jun once again led 2,000 Sand barbarian warriors to Autumnfall City when the army was in the middle and seized it again? This was highly possible. Even if the army of Yu country had to travel 200 miles first, Jin Jun would still be able to reach the city of Autumnfall before them with her 2,000 men. These Sand primitive madmen moved through the jungle as if it was flat ground, and their speed was very fast. And when that time came, more than 100,000 troops had been running for nearly 10 days and were completely exhausted. If they found that Autumnfall City had been lost, there was no need to fight and they would completely collapse on the spot. In the current situation, they couldn't attack the city. Retreating to Autumnfall would not work either. "Where's Zhang Zhao?" Zhu Yan asked. "They are covering the rear. They are forming a formation to defend against the main force of the Sand primitive tribe led by Su Nan." "General Nangong," Zhu Kong said, "lead 10,000 cavalrymen with enough food and go to Autumnfall City as fast as possible. You must enter the city before Jin Jun. That's our only way out. Your cavalry is fast, so they should be able to seize the city before Jin Jun. Lord Zhu Lin, why don't you lead 10,000 cavalrymen to Autumnfall City, and I'll lead the main force to follow?" Nangong Ao was stunned. The current situation was very clear. Whoever followed the main force would be in the most danger. General Zhu Lin said, "It's decided then. Zhang Zhao will lead 50,000 troops to cover the rear. Nangong Ao will lead 10,000 cavalrymen to open the way in front. We will rush to Autumnfall City at full speed. I will lead the main force in the middle. Crown Prince Ning Yi was startled. Then what about me? Zhu Lin didn't mention Crown Prince Ning Yi's arrangements at the start because he wanted him to take the initiative. At this moment, following the main force was the most dangerous. However, Zhu Lin still hoped that the Crown Prince would take the initiative to stay behind and follow the main force of the army. This way, it would at least have a little effect on the morale. Ning Yi did not speak. Zhu Lin sighed in his heart and said, "The Crown Prince and General Nangong Ao will lead 10,000 cavalrymen to the east at full speed. They will enter the Fallen Leaves city and prepare to receive the main force." And Nbispi, "All right." After 15 minutes, the 160,000 troops of Yu were divided into 3 groups. Zhang Zhao's 50,000-strong army formed up to cover the retreat. The Crown Prince and Nangong Ao led 10,000 cavalrymen to Autumnfall City at full speed. Zhu Lin's 100,000 main force was in the middle. Jia, 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 jia. Crown Prince Ning impatiently mounted his horse and galloped away with 10,000 cavalrymen. He didn't want to stay in this damn place for another second. He wanted to leave this place in the shortest time possible. He wanted to go to a place with city walls. Let's go, let's go, let's go, Jinjin. The 100,000-strong main force watched as the Crown Prince and the 10,000 cavalrymen left. He suddenly felt betrayed. The Crown Prince actually escaped and left us behind. At this moment, in the hearts of the hundreds of thousands of soldiers of Yu country, the image of Crown Prince Ning Yi had completely collapsed. Jia, 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 jia. Crown Prince Ning Yi led 10,000 cavalrymen and kept going east and east. In the end, he had just run a few dozen miles. Suddenly, a scout came to report, "Your Highness, the road ahead is broken. There are a lot of stones and wood." The road was blocked. The cavalry could still go around, but many grain trucks could not. Crown Prince Ning Yi's hair stood on end. Would there be an ambush? Army, get into formation. Prepare to face the enemy. Prepare to face the enemy. Nangong Ao ordered. The result? It was just a false alarm. It took more than 2 hours to clear the rubble and wood on the road. The 10,000 cavalrymen set off again. But he ran for another 30 miles. An urgent report came from the front. The road ahead was broken again. This was a landslide, and countless mud and stones were blocking the road. Army, get into formation, get into formation, Nangong Ao ordered. The 10,000 cavalrymen once again formed their formation with great difficulty in this narrow terrain, and there were flaws everywhere. But it was a false alarm. A full 6 hours. Only then did the path in front of him clear up completely. The army continued to advance. But even the cavalrymen were completely exhausted. The result? After walking for another 30 li, the scout in front reported again. The road in front was once again cut off. This time, it was destroyed by the flood. The entire road was missing a large opening and needed to be temporarily paved. Can we go around it? We cannot. The Great Mountains flood had destroyed a huge ravine from top to bottom. Building a road was already the shortest and most effective way. We also have carriages and provisions. Not only Ning Yi, but even Nangong Ao was about to collapse. To pave the road, to pave the road. Army, get into formation. Defend. Defend Wufu. The 10,000 cavalrymen entered a defensive state once again. But the sky was getting dark. And at this moment, whoosh, 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 whoosh. Countless arrows were shot. The warriors of the Sand Primitive tribe had really come for a sneak attack. All right, it wasn't just countless arrows, probably just a few hundred. However, it was extremely precise. They easily took the lives of dozens of people. The cavalrymen of Yu country fell off their horses one after another. Where was the enemy? Where was the enemy? Protect the Crown Prince. Protect the Crown Prince. The 200 warriors from the Sky Sea Pavilion immediately surrounded the Crown Prince to protect him. This road was located halfway up the mountain, with dense forests on both sides. The slope of the mountain was very steep, and the warriors of the Sand primitive tribe were elusive. They could easily run around in the forest like monkeys. He couldn't catch it at all, and he couldn't even find it. The arrows kept coming, taking away wave after wave of lives. Cavalrymen were not allowed to enter the forest. Nangong Ao came to the crown prince and said, "Your Highness, can I borrow your Sky Sea Pavilion warriors? They are masters of martial arts. They can find and kill the Sand primitive warriors. There are only a few hundred Sand primitive warriors in this sneak attack." Crown Prince Ningyi instinctively wanted to refuse. The warrior Tianya and Hai could not leave his side. However, before he could say anything, Li Nanfeng, the Sky Sea Pavilion warrior, rejected him directly. "No, our only duty is to protect the crown prince. We can't leave." Nangong Ao stared at the crown prince. "Your Highness, can you not be so selfish at a time like this?" Li Nanfeng, obey General Nangong Ao's orders, the crown prince Ningyi said. "Sky Sea Pavilion is a supreme power," Li Nanfeng sneered. "We don't have to follow anyone's orders." Ningyi heaved a sigh of relief. He didn't want the Sky Sea Pavilion warriors to leave either. When Nangong Ao saw this, he was furious, but he was helpless. The road ahead was still being paved. To hell with the warriors of the Sand primitive tribe. They specialized in ambushing soldiers who were repairing roads with arrows. Almost every foot of road was at the cost of several lives. In this godforsaken place, the 10,000 cavalrymen were completely passive. Nangong Ao took a look and ordered, "Nangong Association, attack!" The Nangong Association led hundreds of family warriors and rushed out into the dense forest to kill the Sand primitive warriors. But a moment later, the Nangong family ran back. "Father, bad news, bad news. The Sand primitive people are going to burn the forest." Nangong Ao was about to explode when he heard this. Burn the forest? Was Jinjun crazy? Once a mountain fire started burning, it would be endless, and even human strength could not put it out. This southern Phoenix nation was his country. In order to destroy our 10,000 cavalrymen, you actually set fire to the mountain? Immediately after, an extremely terrifying scene appeared. Thick smoke rose from the forest in all four directions. The Sand primitive people were afraid that they could not burn Ningyi's 10,000 cavalrymen to death, so they surrounded them with a sea of fire. This place was surrounded by mountains and forests that stretched for hundreds of miles. Once the mountain was set on fire, there was almost no way to escape. "Your Highness, you must leave quickly, leave quickly," Li Nanfeng said. "Once the fire starts, we won't be able to escape." Crown Prince Ningyi's voice trembled. "Run, where can we run to now?" "Keep going south to the beach," Li Nanfeng said. Crown Prince Ningyi remembered. Yes, the country of Nan, and was near the sea. In order to ensure the Crown Prince's safety, the Zhu family had arranged an escape route on the sea in advance. There was a ship anchored almost every 100 miles. They were only 100 miles away from the sea. These ships could not carry many people, but they could barely carry 100 or 200 people. However, if he did that, he would have to abandon the 10,000 cavalrymen. This was equivalent to abandoning the army and fleeing alone. Is it good to be titillated like this? Nangong Ao rushed up and shouted, Your Highness, you must not abandon the army and run away." This was Jin Jun's scheme. He didn't really set the mountain on fire. He couldn't bear to do it. He was a wise king. Once he set the fire, the consequences would be unimaginable. He would not do that, he just deliberately released the smoke to scare us. Really? Crown Prince Ningyi felt that it made sense. However, the next minute, the north and east side burst into flames at the same time, directly dyeing a small area of the sky red. Ningyi was shocked. Had Jin Jun gone crazy? She actually set the mountain on fire? The 10,000 cavalrymen were immediately thrown into chaos. Nangong Ao shouted, Don't panic, don't panic. As long as the road ahead is repaired, we can leave. Don't panic, and don't run away on your own. Don't enter the dense forest on both sides." The two balls of fire grew larger and larger. Li Nanfeng trembled as he said, Your Highness, you have to make a decision quickly. You can't even run now. When this mountain is set on fire, it can't be put out unless there's a storm. Your Highness the Crown Prince, please. Your Highness, hurry south and leave by ship. Ning Yi's brain was about to explode. On the left, Nangong Ao kept shouting that this was Jin Jun's scheme. When the road ahead was done, they could leave this place. Not far away, the fire was getting bigger and bigger. If I were to abandon the army and escape, wouldn't I become a sinner of your country and gain a bad reputation? Li Nanfeng said, Your Highness, there's only a future if you're alive. If it was an enemy attack, our 200 experts would be able to protect you no matter what, but we can't do anything about this mountain fire. Even if you don't get burned to death, you'll choke to death. No matter how good your martial arts are, it's useless. Your Highness, run. Let's run. The fire was getting more and more intense, and the smoke was getting thicker and thicker. Crown Prince Ning Yi gritted his teeth. As long as there's life, there's hope. General Nangong Ao, I'll leave the situation here to you. Even though this decision was extremely difficult and extremely shameful. However, Crown Prince Ning Yi still made a decision. He jumped off his horse and fled south under the protection of 200 Sky Sea Pavilion warriors. They would have to cross mountains and forests to go south, but they would be safe with the protection of the Sky Sea Pavilion warriors. No matter how powerful Jin Jun's Sand primitive warriors were, their individual martial arts were far inferior to the Sky Sea Pavilion. In the blink of an eye, Crown Prince Ning Yi had run away without a trace. They headed south, crossing tall mountains and jungles. He went out to sea and escaped by boat. Nangong Ao looked at this scene in disbelief. Was Lao Ai the Crown Prince of your country? This was the future king? Although his majesty was mean and unkind, and although he was a prodigal, he was not afraid of death. How brave was his majesty! More than 20 years ago, he entered the enemy camp alone. The year before last, for the sake of acting, he even personally led the imperial army to confront the king of Wu's army of more than 100,000 soldiers. He completely used himself as bait. As for the Crown Prince Ning Yi, before the mountain fire even reached him, he had already abandoned the army and fled by himself. His Highness the Crown Prince has run away. The Crown Prince has abandoned us. We're finished, Inglo. Everyone run. Run. The great General Nangong Ao shouted desperately, The Crown Prince has run away, but I, Nangong Ao, am still here. Everyone, don't worry. Focus on repairing the road and leave together. Don't panic, don't run away. However, it was useless. Out of the 10,000 cavalrymen, 5,000 were brought by the Crown Prince from the capital, and the other 5,000 were the noble children who sought shelter along the way. They were here to add flowers to a brocade and to follow the Crown Prince. But now that the Crown Prince had run away, they completely broke down. The fire is coming, run. Apart from the Nangong family's knights and some imperial army cavalry, Nangong Ao could no longer control the other knights. These people scattered like birds and beasts, fleeing in all directions. Some fled on their horses, while others abandoned their war horses and ran away. There were fleeing figures everywhere in the north, south, east, and west. Many people even fled back to meet up with Zhu Lin's main army. Nangong Ao roared, A useless general will exhaust an army of 1,000. I, Nangong Ao, am really blind. The collapse was like a mountain falling. He could no longer stop it. The 10,000 cavalrymen in the front line had completely collapsed when they were still 300 miles away from Autumnfall City. Looking at the cavalrymen fleeing frantically, Nangong Xie said, What should we do? How many people can we still control? Nangong Ao gritted his teeth. Less than 3,000 cavalrymen. Nangong Xie said, Enough. No matter the cost, regardless of the mountain fire, continue to build the road. Nangong Ao said. Nangong Ao's judgment was correct. Jin Jun cherished her country and was not willing to set it on fire. Once the fire spread, it would burn the people of Nanyu to death and many people would be homeless. He was completely scaring Ning Yi. Ning Yi and his 10,000 cavalrymen were like birds startled by the mere twang of a bow. They were on edge and fled the moment the fire started. You've only set off for less than 2 days, but the 10,000 cavalrymen split up. More than 4 hours later, Nangong Ao had paid the price of hundreds of lives to repair the destroyed road. Then, he led more than 2,000 cavalrymen to continue east towards Autumnfall. Once Ning Yi decided to escape, then focus and press forward. At this moment, his heart actually felt much lighter. Sometimes an army was really a burden. They would trap and drag people to death. Once they abandoned the army, they would be free to fly. He was protected by 200 Sky Sea Pavilion warriors, so he could move freely in the forest. They crossed the mountains and the forest. After escaping for dozens of miles, he turned around. Why wasn't there any fire? Shouldn't the fire have been completely lit by now? Could it be that it was Jin Jun's trick to trick the army again? Nangong Ao's judgment was actually correct? Then, wouldn't my reputation be ruined? Your Highness, there's no need to think so much. Nangong Ao might not be able to escape. In less than 100 miles, we've encountered a roadblock, a landslide, and a mountain flood that destroyed the road. There were still 400 miles to the city of Autumnfall, and he didn't know how many more accidents there would be. Jin Jun's sand barbarian warriors were appearing and disappearing unpredictably in the jungle, so Nangong Ao was afraid that he wouldn't be able to make it to Autumnfall alive. As long as you're alive, there's still hope. We can go out to sea at the fastest speed and board the ship. Maybe we can get to Autumnfall in the shortest time. As long as we take down Autumnfall, all our mistakes will be nothing. Crown Prince Ning Yi nodded in agreement. The kings in history could even abandon their parents, let alone their army. In the end, didn't they still become the rulers of their generation? If a man didn't do it for himself, the heavens would punish him. Therefore, the Crown Prince Ning Yi didn't regret it and continued to gallop south on Li Nanfeng's back. The Sky Sea Pavilion warriors were indeed powerful. Although he was not a warrior of the Sand primitive tribe, he was highly skilled in martial arts. He could walk in jungles and mountains as if he was walking on flat ground. Moreover, the warriors of the Sand primitive tribe did not dare to harass them at all, and the key was that they could not catch up. In just 6 hours, the 200 Sky Sea Pavilion experts had covered 160 miles. He finally heard the sound of the sea. He was finally going to escape. Immediately after, Crown Prince Ning Yi's heart welled up with an ominous premonition. Could it be that when they reached the beach, Jin Jun was waiting there again? Please don't, please don't. The Crown Prince was overthinking. The 200 Sky Sea Pavilion disciples carried him out of the endless forest and arrived at the seaside. There was no one. There will be boats waiting for me less than 100 miles to the west and east. To the east, to the east. Crown Prince Ning Yi said, because the east side was closer to Autumnfall City, but further away from Jin Jun. The 200 experts followed the coastline and ran toward the east. Run, run, run. Sure enough, after running for less than 50 miles, he saw a ship. Crown Prince Ning Yi cried tears of joy. It was too difficult. This journey had been too difficult. It was like a nightmare. Quick, check the ship. There's no Jinjuan's ambush. Ning Yi ordered. Dozens of warriors from the Sky Sea Pavilion rushed out and rowed along the sea surface. They climbed onto the ship and checked the identity of the people on board. No problem. They were all sailors of the Zhu family. There were no problems with a quick inspection of the ship. Go, 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 board the ship. The Crown Prince took a small boat and then boarded the large ship. The 200 Sky Sea Pavilion experts also boarded the ship. Set sail towards the east of Autumnfall City. The ship's sails were opened, and it sailed at a speed of more than 20 miles an hour. Standing on the deck, Crown Prince Ning Yi's eyes were almost filled with tears. He had finally escaped. The past few days had been like a nightmare. Stay away, Jinjin. Ning Yi ordered. Even though his orders were unclear, Li Nanfeng still understood. The ship is far away from land. It is sailing away from the territory of the South Ou nation. Yes. The ship turned around and headed south, venturing a few dozen miles into the ocean. Looking at the dense forest of the Nan and kingdom that was getting further and further away, Crown Prince Ning Yi finally felt a little more at ease. This place was too scary. It was like hell. At this moment, when Ning Yi saw the dense forest of the South Ou kingdom, he almost wanted to vomit. It was almost a conditioned reflex. Jinjun was a lunatic, a complete lunatic. She was really terrifying. The Crown Prince Ningyi had escaped, but what about the main force of 100,000? He didn't have the energy to think anymore. I don't care. When the ship approached Autumnfall City, he first thought of a way to let Li Nanfeng investigate the situation. If there were no enemies in Autumnfall, the Crown Prince would station himself in the city and wait for Zhu Lin's main army. However, they were ready to turn around and return to Tiannan province at any time. If the army of more than 100,000 was still around, then Ningyi had not lost yet, and his father would not dare to do anything to him. After all, he had an army of more than 100,000 soldiers. The entire south depended on this army to support itself. However, what if the army of more than 100,000 soldiers was annihilated? What should he do then? Seek refuge at the Sky Sea Pavilion? Or could he go to the Yen capital and rely on the Zhu family to keep his position as the Crown Prince of Yu country? In short, I, Ningyi, am definitely not willing to admit defeat like this. Even if my entire army is annihilated, Jinjun's army will definitely surge into Tiannan province. The Jin family and Xunlang would be the first to bear the brunt. By then, the only army in the entire Tiannan province would be the private army of the Jin clan. Could Jinju's thousands of private troops stop Jinjun? He definitely couldn't block it. Therefore, the Jin family's territory and the Marquis's residence could not be saved. When he thought of this, Crown Prince Ningyi felt a little pleased. If I'm unlucky, Xunlang will be unlucky too. It would be best if Jinju, that idiot, was as loyal and upright as the legend said, and died on the battlefield. It would be best if the entire Jin family was annihilated. And at this moment, the entire ship suddenly shook. Not good, the bottom of the ship is on fire, it's on fire, hee. When these words came out, Crown Prince Ningyi's hair stood on end. Oh my god? To the heavens? Ingluo, you actually treat me, Ningyi, like this? Hurry and put out the fire, hurry and put out the fire, Ingluo. The sailors quickly put out the fire. However, Ying had seen a ghost. This fire simply couldn't be put out. Water was poured on it, but it was still burning. Moreover, it was a green will-o'-the-wisp. Hoo. Ghostly fire was ignited one after another. In the blink of an eye, the entire bottom of the ship was burning with the ghostly fire that could not be extinguished. The bottom of the boat was burned through. The entire ship caught fire. This was of course white phosphorus. Did Xunlang do this? It wasn't. It was Jinjun. Where did he get the white phosphorus? Xunlang had created a few miracles with the white phosphorus, and the earliest one was 2 years ago. After Xunlang became famous, many people started to study his unique technique. This included Jinjun and the Great Tribulation Temple. Even though they had never met before, Jinjun had been paying attention to Xunlang and even tried to learn a lot from him. He couldn't create gunpowder, and he couldn't learn bloodline transformation. But Bai Lin still learned it. And NBSP, the Great Tribulation Temple, was skilled in evil arts and alchemy and had used countless experiments to create white phosphorus. It was just that their refining method was backward and the production was frighteningly low, but it was more than enough to burn Ningyi's ship. Back to the main topic. The entire ship was burning, and seawater kept pouring in. Your Highness, hurry up and leave. The ship is about to sink. Crown Prince Ningyi's entire body was numb. Jinjun, are you a devil? Why can't I escape from your demonic claws? It was obvious that he had fallen into Jinjun's trap again. It was a lie to set the mountain on fire. It was to make Ningyi abandon the cavalry army and escape to the south. Jinjun had already done something to these ships, and it was something that couldn't be detected. Jinjun, are you a devil? Why did I fall into your trap every time? No. It's you who's leading me into a trap, into hell with every step. Ningyi did not vomit blood. He looked at the raging fire. He let out a burst of mournful laughter. He had seen thick smoke in the forest of the southern Oyu nation, but there had been no real fire. In the end, when they finally escaped, they encountered a big fire. It was too pathetic. Ningyi, you're too pathetic. Your Highness, quickly leave, Xinjin. Li Nanfeng, an expert from the Sky Sea Pavilion, held Ning-yi and was about to jump into the sea. Crown Prince Ning-yi didn't move, allowing others to carry him and jump into the sea, allowing others to carry him and row towards the shore. We can't escape. Don't waste your energy. We can't escape, hee. Haha. Crown Prince Ning-yi seemed to have gone crazy as he let out a burst of strange laughter. Jin-jun is waiting for us in front. Haha, we can't escape, Inglo. When Li Nanfeng heard this voice, he felt his blood run cold. The Crown Prince must have gone mad. His heart had completely collapsed from Jin-jun's ravaging, and he had completely given up resisting. As expected, Crown Prince Ning-yi's intuition was right. After swimming for more than an hour, a few ships appeared in front of them. When Jin-jun appeared on the boat, he was still so handsome and so calm. And NBSP, he had hundreds of Great Tribulation Temple experts and Sand Barbarian experts. The 4 ships had trebuchets and jars of fish oil. These ships surrounded Ning-yi and the 200 Sky Sea Pavilion experts on the sea. Jin-jun laughed. Ning-yi, am I the one to do it? Or are you going to surrender? As he gave the order, hundreds of sand primitive warriors drew their bows and aimed at the people in the water. Li Nanfeng said, Your Highness, don't surrender. We can protect you. The Sky Sea Pavilion's experts are invincible. Haha, I don't think so. A deafening sound rang out. Great Tribulation Temple's itinerant monk suffering's martial arts were infinitely close to that of a grandmaster. Great Tribulation Temple has over 100 experts and Sand Barbarian race has over 100 experts. You guys have swum dozens of miles. How much internal strength do you have left? Itinerant monk Kugu laughed. As the sea breeze blew, Jin-jun flipped her hair and said, Get ready. Then he returned to the cabin. Jin-jun, I surrender, I surrender, I surrender to Bayan. The Crown Prince Ning-yi trembled as he shouted. Your Highness, Li Nanfeng said angrily, we can escape, so don't surrender to Xuanji. Crown Prince Ning-yi roared, If you want to run, you can run. I'm not running anymore. I can't run anymore, ha. He was angry and laughing at the same time. It had been almost 10 days, a nightmarish 10 days. Jin-jun, I surrender to Ingluo. The Crown Prince Ning-yi didn't care and directly rowed towards Jin-jun's boat. Li Nanfeng wanted to stop him. Don't stop me. Don't touch me, Ingluo, Ning-yi said sternly. 15 minutes later, Crown Prince Ning-yi was captured and knelt in front of Jin-jun.